What's up, FIghtHype fam? Here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame here in upstate New York in Canastota. And you're looking at plaques here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. There's some hand casts. Here's a Jack Johnson cast in his fist. Bruno Carnera. Andy Leonard, one of the all-time great lightweights, whose hand really isn't that much smaller than Jack Johnson, the heavyweight champions. Here's some of the guys getting in this year. Floyd Mayweather, 2021. Five-division champion. Andre Ward getting in the same year as Floyd Mayweather, 32-0. Two-division champion, lineal champion in both divisions. Vladimir Klitschko, dominant heavyweight of his era. Next, alongside his brother Vitaly. Of course, we have famous great fighters like Oscar De La Hoya and Mike Tyson, Pernell Whitaker. Here's some other guys getting in this year. Miguel Cotto, Puerto Rico's men's only four-division champion. Roy Jones, four-division champion, only fighter from middleweight to heavyweight to become champion in all those divisions. James Toney, who would have done it as well, came up just a little short with the John Ruiz situation, but one of the all-time great cruiserweights, super middleweights. And then this class in 2020, because all three classes, 2021, 2022, 2021, and 2020 are all getting in at once because of the pandemic. So Juan Manuel Marquez, technically one of only four division champions in Mexico's history, along with Jorge Arce, Eric Morales, and Canelo Alvarez. Sugar Shane Mosley, and Marquez also had his hand casted earlier today. Same. Most of these, seven out of the 9 of these guys, or 6 out of 9 of these guys did today. But Shane Mosley, three-division champion, one of the 3 great sugars in boxing history with Ray Leonard and Ray Robinson. And then Bernard Hopkins, all-time middleweight title defense, all-time oldest fighter to ever win a world title, to unify the world titles, the great Bernard Hopkins. So this is the class getting in this year, these 9. Flash Elorde, who is the greatest Filipino fighter of all time before Manny Pacquiao came along. Sugar Ray Leonard, one of the top 10 greatest fighters ever. Ricardo Lopez, one of the greatest Mexicans ever. Vinny Paz, all their shoes here. There's Sugar Ray Leonard's famous black shoes right there. Boxing shoes. Ricardo Lopez, Vinny Paz's shoes right there. Ruben Oliveras, I believe, or let's see, Oliveras. I believe that's Ruben Oliveras' robe. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, the all-time great undisputed middleweight champion. Vinny Paz, former lightweight champion. Pepino Cuevas, who had his famous WBA welterweight world title fight with Thomas Hearns. There's some recent stuff. Vasil Lomachenko, and Keith Thurman. Trunks of Keith Thurman and Vasil Lomachenko. Azuma Nelson and Sugar Ray Leonard in his debut. Sugar Ray Leonard's debut robe and Azuma Nelson's robe. And Arturo Thunder Gotti, his robe for, let's see which fight. Well, yeah, Thurman, that's when he beat Danny Garcia, and Loma, this is when he beat Guillermo Rigondeaux. Let's see, Sugar Ray Leonard, the bag he used throughout his career, but let's see if we can get, which fight is this Arturo Gotti from? Well, it's a beautiful robe. It's definitely from the HBO era. It's gotta be a mid-2000s, probably from one of the Mickey Ward fights, I would assume. You guys in the comments could let us know, but probably from the Mickey Ward fights, one of them. Here's some recent stuff here. David Benavidez with Anthony Durrell. Here's his hand wraps. You see some of the dried blood there. Tank Davis. And the knockout he had against Nunez. And then Leo Santa Cruz as well. This looks like, yes, Johnny Tapia. Robe of Johnny Tapia. Here's a Errol Spence versus Sean Porter hand wraps from their 2019 Fight of the Year in Los Angeles Staples Center. Sugar Ray Leonard, his boxing equipment. Man, it looks like he took some low blows. Here's some gloves worn by Riddick Bowe, either right when he was heavyweight champion or right before. Some old school 90s Clayton Reyes gloves worn by Riddick Bowe right there. And then here's the modern women getting in this year. Holly Holm, Regina Hamlick, Layla Ali, and Wolf, Lucia Riker, and Christy Martin. The trailblazers of women's boxing here. Timeline here. Down to Clarissa and Katie now. And these are, you know, the girls that opened up the doors for them. Celia Brakes will be in here at some point. Eusebio Pedrosa. I believe this man beat Roberto Duran. Gave Duran his only loss at lightweight for the longest time when Duran was about 72-1. So, but Duran eventually beat him, got that revenge. This guy was amazing. Terrible Terry Norris. Beautiful red robe here by Terrible Terry Norris. More title defenses at super welterweight than any other fighter in boxing history. I think 4-time super welterweight champion. Wilfred Benitez. This is the belt he eventually lost to Sugar Ray Leonard. And he won this title. He was actually the youngest champion in boxing history at 140 pounds, but yeah, he won this title at welterweight against Carlos Palomino, eventually lost it to Sugar Ray Leonard for Sugar Ray Leonard's first time. And there's the great Wilfred Benitez's robe. I believe that's Willie Pep right there. Old school ring mags. Jack Dempsey stuff. It's a rare picture of Jack Dempsey right there. More Sugar Ray Leonard stuff. Lots of Sugar Ray Leonard stuff here at the Hall of Fame. This is how they got it broken up here. It's pretty cool. Old timers, pioneers. So these are guys from the late 1800s, mid to late 1800s. Pioneers, starting with guys like James J. from Dead, Jack Dempsey, Harry Greb, Joe Gans, Sam Langford, Jack Johnson, Kid Chocolate out of Cuba. We stop on some of the guys I think were exceptional for their time. Obviously, Jack Dempsey was a great fighter for his time. Let's see here. Oh yeah, moderns. Stuff everybody loves. These guys love Salvador Sanchez. Maybe the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. Ruben Oliveras. Carl Basilio. Two great fights with Sugar Ray Robinson. Muhammad Ali. Maybe the greatest light heavyweight puncher ever, Bob Foster. The greatest heavyweight ever, Muhammad Ali. A lot of people's other greatest heavyweight ever, Joe Louis. Willie Pep, that was Willie Pep earlier. This is confirmed. Only undefeated heavyweight champion. Unless Fury really is retired. And great Carlos Monzon, the greatest light heavyweight ever, one of the greatest fighters ever, one of the greatest punchers ever. Archie Moore. Mantequilla Napoles. Yeah. The great Lennox Lewis. The great George Foreman. Sonny Liston. As mentioned earlier, Benitez. Very underrated Mike McCallum. And of course, the great Sugar Ray Leonard. Where's Sugar Ray Robinson in this? Looking for Sugar Ray Robinson. Where is he? It's hard to find Ray Robinson in here. There's LaMotta. But where is Robinson? Frazier, Williams, Johnson, Smith. Well, we'll look a little bit longer for Sugar Ray Robinson. Alexis Arguello. The guy that maybe Inoue can get past as the greatest bantamweight of all time. There he is, the great Sugar Ray Robinson, the GOAT. The GOAT, the TBE. Now it's wall apart. Ali and Robinson on the same wall. Mayweather, Jones, Vander Holyfield on this wall. Larry Holmes, as mentioned earlier, Terry Norris. Julio Cesar Chavez. It's just an awesome place to be at in the International Boxing Hall of Fame here in Canastota. The great Bernard Hopkins, his trunks during his middleweight reign in his prime. Thomas Hearns with the prom colors.
Otro peleador único, pequeño, con 4 acciones diferentes. Miguel Ángel Moto, peleadorazo, un peleador muy completo, chava, un peleador que enfrentó en su época a todo el mundo.
Sean Porter, his trunks, and his hand cast.
You see Primo Carnero's fist?
Yes, the biggest.